The case of Rod Covlin is one of the most harrowing tales of greed, manipulation, and betrayal in modern criminal history. At its core lies the brutal murder of Shele Danishefsky, a wealthy financial executive and mother whose life was tragically cut short in her own home. Adding to the horror was Rod Covlin's attempt to frame his own 9-year-old daughter for the crime. This story delves deep into the events leading up to the crime, the aftermath, and the chilling details of how one man's avarice and manipulation tore a family apart. Background: who were Rod Covlin and Shele Danishefsky? Shele Danishefsky was a successful and respected financial executive at Prudential Douglas Elliman. Born into a loving Jewish family, she was known for her sharp intellect, warm personality, and devotion to her 2 children. Shele had built a comfortable life for herself and her family, amassing a considerable fortune through her career. Rod Covlin, on the other hand, was a professional backgammon player with a significantly less stable career. Despite his charming demeanor, Rod had a reputation for being manipulative and self-serving. The couple's marriage had been tumultuous, marked by frequent arguments and accusations of infidelity. By the time of Shele's death, the two were in the midst of a bitter divorce and custody battle over their 2 young children, Anna and Miles. The murder, a New Year's Eve tragedy. On December 31, 2009, Shele Danishefsky was found dead in her Upper West Side apartment's bathtub. Her 9-year-old daughter, Anna, was the one who discovered her body. Initially, her death was ruled an accident, with authorities concluding that Shele had slipped and fallen in the bathroom. However, family members, particularly Shele's parents, suspected foul play almost immediately. Shele had confided in her family about her fears of Rod. She had taken steps to cut him out of her will and had scheduled a meeting with her lawyer to finalize those changes. Tragically, she never made it to that meeting. Suspicions and investigation. As suspicions grew, an autopsy was conducted months later, revealing that Shele's death was not accidental. The findings indicated she had been strangled, and the scene had been staged to look like an accident. Rod Covlin quickly became the prime suspect. Rod's behavior in the aftermath of Shele's death raised many red flags. He showed little grief, instead focusing on gaining access to Shele's fortune. Despite being estranged, Rod stood to inherit a significant portion of Shele's wealth as her legal spouse. However, Shele's family successfully prevented him from accessing the inheritance by securing custody of the children and initiating a civil suit. A web of manipulation, Rod's manipulative tendencies became more apparent during the investigation. He attempted to plant false evidence and create narratives to shift suspicion away from himself. Most chillingly, Rod concocted a plan to frame his daughter Anna for her mother's murder. He wrote a confession letter posing as Anna, claiming responsibility for the crime. Fortunately, this letter was intercepted and exposed as part of Rod's elaborate scheme. Rod's efforts to evade justice extended beyond his daughter. He sought to exploit the legal system and manipulate those around him, including family members and investigators. His attempts to fabricate evidence and create distractions ultimately strengthened the case against him. Arrest and trial. It took nearly a decade for Rod Covlin to be arrested and charged with Shele's murder. In 2015, after years of investigation and gathering evidence, prosecutors were able to build a compelling case. Rod's trial began in 2019, and the prosecution painted a damning picture of a man driven by greed and a lack of moral boundaries. Key evidence included the delayed autopsy report confirming strangulation, testimonies from family and friends about Rod's threats and manipulative behavior, the fabricated confession letter intended